Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. Wait, we continue with our analysis of FanFest. We continue with our discussion of Legion. We continue with our discussion of Dust and console gaming. So, in the last video, we looked obviously at the issues around what they've done. I mean, effectively, moving to the PC does mean that you're going to get a very different game. And I wanted to play devil's advocate of that a little bit because the game as it plays at the moment does play very much like in my opinion, a good shooter. I mean, I know people hate this game and they just, they loll at these comments, but I like it. And if I think it's good, I'm allowed to say I think it's good. And I do enjoy the game. I do get an enjoyment from playing it. But I think the issue a lot of people are going to have is that is going to the PC is not going. It's not going to feel the same game. It will feel totally different, and I do mean that. And that's something that we probably should bear in mind. So if you've ever played PlanetSide 2, in fact, I would even urge you maybe now's the time to actually give something like PlanetSide 2 a go. I'm not saying to say F you to CCP. That's actually not what I mean. I would almost say if you've got a PC and you don't really PC game, go and play PlanetSide 2 because that is a good marker of what PC gaming's like. It doesn't feel as severe, it doesn't feel as strong, it doesn't feel as heavy. PC gaming and PC games feel very light and they feel like everything's made of plastic. Because things are running a lot faster, I think there's a higher frames per second. I think there's just, generally it feels a lot smoother. Okay, and that I think will be your first revelation you'll find. We are actually going to do some PlanetSide 2 videos as well. This is not, again, just to be clear, this is not because we're saying lol, fuck Dust. It's absolutely not. I want to show people what potentially an open world sandbox shooter is like. And, Legion is really sizing up to be way better than PlanetSide 2 already. Even just the content and the idea behind it is very good. Hang on before you start mashing buttons saying Pyrex, I hate you. I'm also still going to address this whole console piece because I do think it's a mistake that they're moving away from the console market. Because let me tell you my thoughts. I've watched every FanFest that's ever been reviewed, right? I went to a few of them as well, good few of them as well. I've been to many, of these things. I've seen CCP and the way they operate for a decade now. And the way they operate is they constantly have attrition problems. People, well, they do and they don't. They have a lot of people who've never left. So this is the original founding people of the CCP business have come in, they started it, they founded it, they've now made themselves very nice little niches in the business and they never leave, ever, okay, which is bad. It's not nice to say that, but it is true. If you've got a business that just never circulates its absolute executive top, then they're just going to start to stagnate. You then also have a problem where what they think is, right, let's buy in talent. Let's get industry scene talent into this business and get that working on us. But CCP isn't EA. It's not, it's not a massive, production company producing thousands of games a year. It is a niche, but very successful niche product business. And what that means is that these people who come in from EA and from, Sony and from all these different gaming companies don't necessarily have they don't understand necessarily the culture. And they say, yes, oh no, we've spent time and we've understood the culture. No, you haven't. And it's evident that a lot of people haven't because what they actually end up doing is they end up trying to force CCP into the model of the company they've just come from, okay? Because that's the way we all work. Whenever you leave, you take your ideas with you as well, and you try and install those ideas in your next job. And I think that the problem is that they're kind of suffering from change fatigue slightly because, I just get the impression that the market is moving faster than the game and CCP. So the market now pretty much embraces free-to-play models of subscription. So you don't pay to play a game. You actually just can do microtransactions. CCP just cannot escape this cash cow scenario they have, which is that you have to pay for EVE. Dust 514 was important to them because it also gave them, and again, this was a strategy that they said they wanted to do to become multi-platform, multi-leveled. That was only last year said, now they've retreated back from that. They're going back to the PC being the golden source of architecture for their business. They also have said that the whole kind of, business should be looking at kind of PC as its way forward, and and a single unity, kind of unified or united platform of games means that you can put on your drop suit, you can put on your Valkyrie fighter suit, you can put on your suit, your pod suit, whatever, and you can then go and play all three. So I think, again, there's so many, every year it's a different kind of story from a different person. Now, it may not be different, but it may be these people elevate to the point where they then can change what the previous person did. So I would say there's no consistency within CCP other than the EVE Online product, which is their cash cow. That is their business, really. Dust 514 and Valkyrie and all the other things they do do not provide the cash cow, the cash for the business. And EVE is a significant cash cow because people are paying a lot of money for that game. And I think this is in subtext. This is maybe why, again, we've seen a massive change of direction from consoles and PS3, and now we're back to the PC because another person that maybe above the whole Dust project has said, why have we got this on console? We can't do our grand plan of one pod united for every game if it's on that technology. So it's almost as if there is like this absence, if I dare say. There is an absence of executive oversight over everything that CCP do, which is disappointing considering that so many of the top people in CCP have always been in the CCP business. And it just does feel that they're kind of diverting from one strategy to the other. Okay. Now, sorry for going through that, but that's a very cold, hard analysis as to why, unfortunately, Dust 514 on the PS3 is potentially going to come to an end, because that is really what they have done. Is they're just suffering from strategic fatigue, change fatigue, if you want to call it that. It doesn't help us, though, and it doesn't make life any easier. It makes probably, it's not easy to accept decisions that, don't necessarily benefit anyone, other than a new market. And I think that is a fair thing to be saying, that, they're not really giving, be careful with what I say here, right? Because what they're effectively saying is that their console market consumer base, which is us, have got one choice. We either come with the game or we don't. So you've got to get a PC or you can't play this game in the near future. And I think that I have a problem with. Okay, I think they could have made a very clear message to say, yeah, we're going to leave Dust on for years to come. So there'll always be a game there. It will be a free-to-play game in the PSN store that you can just play. And while we're doing this, we're then going to build another game on the PC, which then expands the influence of the game. But they haven't. They didn't say that. There was almost a very clear kind of, what wasn't said was anything to do with the future of this game, which it obviously implies there isn't one. And that's what's made me the most sad. There's ways to say things, and I know I keep going on about it, but this is, I'm not being arrogant here. I know people think I am arrogant. I'm absolutely not. I'm not being arrogant when I say this, but I work in like an area where these kind of things, are multi-million-dollar decisions in what I do. So you really do have to think about the mode and method of what you say, right? And I kind of thought when I watched what happened that it was not done terribly well. It was probably done because they couldn't tell anybody anything. Maybe there is no decision at all. Maybe there is no news. There's nothing. Maybe there was literally, their hands were absolutely tied. But I still think there's ways that you could say it. So I think I would have not have even called it the Dust 514 keynote speech. I would have avoided even calling it that. I would have not even had one. I would have had a Dust 514, executive producer update where they talk about, we don't really know what the future of this game is going to be, where it's going to be, how it's going to work, but they could give us a vision. And I think, CCP Praetorian did do that. I would have almost just given the sandbox talk as the keynotes and made that the first Dust 514 talk they did. And I think people would have maybe been a lot more accepting of that because it was very particular. I then would have just not had, as I say, a keynote, and I would have then just had, we're going to show you something new, okay? And they could have just called it Mercs in EVE, and it could have just been, look, we're not sure where this is going to go, we're not sure how this is going to work, but this is it, and this is Legion, right? And we're not looking to replace one game, but I think, we could look at this in a much more kind of, open world way to say, what do you guys think? Which is really what they've actually done. But the way they've done it is ended up turning into a red wedding, which is people thought they were coming in to do one thing and they feel like they've been tricked. And that's not good. There's very little I think anybody can say or do about any of this. Okay, so I think as a critic, as somebody who, I do like to feel myself as somebody who critiques what CCP do, I think their hands were pretty much tied all the way through this. So I don't feel it's worth blaming anybody like Saberwing, Rouge, or anybody like that. There is nothing that they could probably have done here. I think we even saw that Rouge does not even have a green light for this next level of Legion anyway. So he's in a difficult position as well. So I think, frankly, there's no point, I think, getting angry. And that's why I'm not. I'm moderating everything I say today and in these videos, because I just think this was a very difficult decision, a very difficult discussion. And I think, quite frankly, no matter what they did, there would have been drama across the board. People would have gone effing nuts either way. It's not the best of times. I wish I could give you a positive message, and we'll try in the next one when we talk about Legion. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.